Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing to study the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. So we will begin today with the verse 16. Before that, we will try to recollect the discussions from yesterday. So Krishna, after having explained about the gradations of bhakti, he exactly points out what is the standard or the highest level that he is expecting the devotees to raise to. He's showing that one should be completely absorbed in me, one who is always absorbed in him with his mind and intelligence, and he is considered to be, that is the platform of being in pure love with Krishna. So someone is experiencing this level of prema and bhava. So if one is not able to be in that level, then Krishna is giving different gradations, at least by engaging in the principles of sadhana bhakti, try to elevate yourself. So if not work for me, then he gives, then if you cannot do any of this, then be part of the varnashrama system and then gradually you elevate. Then another option is giving also to, for those who cannot do this, then for whom it is possible, pick up this process of jnana, those impersonally is suggesting, and then he concludes saying that in all case, if one can come back to the process of giving up the results to Krishna by again gradually elevating. And Prabhupada in the purport also is very clearly pointing out that we can at any point of time always try the direct process of bhakti. That's the glorious path. That's what is Krishna's intention. After having explained that, Krishna goes on to show to the entire world how his devotees are, what are the glory of his devotees. His devotees, what makes them glorious? And Krishna is listing various qualities. And of all those qualities that we discussed yesterday, all these qualities sprouts from the main quality of a devotee who is always surrendered to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So from surrender, everything comes about. All the good qualities that one manifests are coming from that one principle of Kinchana Bhakti. Or for him, who is called an Akinchana? Akinchana means he doesn't possess anything. He possesses only one thing. He possesses Krishna. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunai tatra samasate suraha arava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna anoratena sati dhavato vahi. So this is the point. The devotee, because of his unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Lord, all the good qualities manifest in him. So what are those various qualities that we discussed yesterday? Krishna goes on to point out various qualities. Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukakshami santushta sattam yogi yatatma drida nishchaya mayarpita mano buddhir mame vaisi sasankshaya mayarpita mano buddhir Yomad Bhakta Samepriya. Yeah, such a devotee becomes very dear to me. Okay, we will just before we begin the other qualities, we will just recollect ourselves about the various. Adveshta, the devotee is non-envious, doesn't have envy towards anybody. In fact, even if someone is envious of him, he doesn't envious of him, and if he does something bad to him, he doesn't take it because he thinks that actually, whatever that happened, this is happening, it is all because of my previous karma. That is why I am experiencing this. This is the Lord's plan to make me surrender to Him. So that, I've done some mess in the previous life. Now I have to, because of the mercy of the Lord, it is the suffering that I am undergoing is very minimal. I should suffer more for what I have done. So that is his attitude. And he is very friendly to all the living entities. Sarva Bhuta, Sarva Adveshta Sarva Bhutana Maitra. With all the living entities, he is very friendly. And we also see yesterday we saw the example of Mrigari also, isn't it? He was so Mriga, Mriga Hari. His life he led by killing the animals. That is how he led his life, and he found satisfaction also. Half kill, he will leave the animals half kill. Such a person got transformed by surrendering his life to Krishna by the association of pure devotee of Narada Muni. So all the devotees are like that. They are very friendly. They don't see, the caste, creed, color, body, irrespective of all those things. The devotees are always very friendly to others, and they are very merciful. So merciful means what? We will clarify. That is being clarified from beginning of the discussion of the Bhagavad Gita chapters. So the devotee is merciful in what way? In trying to help the soul to bring him back to Krishna consciousness, to bring him back to his constitutional position. So he's ready to distribute the mercy. Yesterday we were discussing about the quality of Srila Prabhupada. He was exhibiting all these qualities. All these qualities are completely manifested in him. He could have stayed in Vrindavan. Why he had to go all the way in that age, travel in the ship? But he was very merciful. He wanted to distribute this, give his knowledge to everyone. So he went into the community of hippies. It's not that he went among some very big intellectuals, and he went down on the street. He was there distributing the knowledge. So he wanted to save the entire world from drowning into the hands of the grips of Maya. So that was a great quality. Then Nirmamo, he is free of, he doesn't have this propensity of everything is mine. He knows Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Everything belongs to Krishna. It may be his wife, it may be his children, whatever it is, he engages everything in Krishna's service. Nirmamo nirahankara. And also, a devotee does not have any ego. He may be, externally, in the society, his position may be a big person, but he always identifies his position. What is the designation he identifies himself to? Always as a servant of the Lord, a servant of the devotees of the Lord. That is his identification. Another example that we can think of Chaitanya Leela is King Prataparudra. He was a king of the Orissa, but what was he doing? It was just when he came in front of the Lord, in front of the cart, completely paid full obeisances, and he was sweeping the street. The Lord was very pleased by that act, isn't it? So, this is one example. There are so many examples where devotees don't see what is their position. They are just seeing how to please the Lord. That's it. So that is the main. So Nirmamo, Nirahankara. Then Samadukka Sukakshami. So he is equipoised. He is even in a very difficult situation or in a very happy situation. In both the situations, he could see things in the proper platform. So he is not bewildered by that situation. Samadukka Sukakshami. Santushta, always satisfied. Remember Srila Prabhupada, when they asked Srila Prabhupada, we will have, what kind of program you want to do? Morning, you want to have this kind of program? Prabhupada was in some place for some preaching program. Prabhupada said that, I am like a cow, you can milk me. At any time you can milk me, Prabhupada said. The point is that Prabhupada was ready to, whatever may be the program, whatever, he was ready to give Krishna consciousness to others. Always satisfied, always, never was morose. Devotee Prabhupada sometimes he may show, but from his heart, because his mind and intelligence are completely absorbed in Krishna, he's always ready to execute his activities. That's what yesterday we discussed. During the heated exchanges or any difficult situation also, when there was a time for the programs, he will just come and then he will just speak about Krishna, speak about the Krishna conscious philosophy, completely absorbed. So you could see that is the quality of a pure devotee. Samadukka Sukakshami. Santushta Satatam Yogi. Always like this. And then Yatatma Dhrida Nishtaya. Yatatma means what? Yatatma means self-control. Because he is able to, like we heard the descriptions in the second chapter, whenever he wants to engage his senses, he will engage his senses. Whenever he wants to withdraw his senses, he will withdraw his senses. That is how a pure devotee is. Pure devotee is trained. That's why he is called Goswami, isn't it? Because he has controlled his senses. And control the senses means you will engage the senses in the service of the Lord. That is the whole point. Yatatma Dhrida Nishchaya. Because of having controlled the senses, he is able to exhibit this quality of Dhrida Nishchaya. Means you cannot, otherwise it's very difficult to be determined. Somebody has to exhibit determination means determination should be based on, one should be able to have control over his senses, and the control of the senses is based on solid philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Why you are controlling the senses? For what? So because he's able to positively is engaging in Krishna's service, he's very determined also. Determined not to engage in any kind of activities which is detrimental to the progress of Krishna consciousness or that which is not pleasing to Krishna. Yatatma Dhrida Nishchaya. Then Adveshna Sarva Bhutana Maitra Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankara Samadukha Sukakshami then Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma Dhrida Nishchaya Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir Yomad Bhakta Same Priya. Then what is the next series of verses? Anapeksha Shuchit Bhakshani 16. Yasman no dvijate loko. Yeah. Then Krishna says, we covered the other one also. Huh? Okay. Yeah. Then yesterday we discussed about Yasman no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chaya. So the thing is that a devotee is so, so friendly with everyone, he never puts anybody into difficulty. And even if someone puts him into difficulty, he is not bothered by that because he is always, he knows that the Lord is there to protect me. And whatever will be the situation, he said, this is Lord's plan. So he's like that. Yasman no dijate loko, loka no dijate chaya. Harsha marsha bhayodvega. Then again he is pointing out that in happiness, in distress, bhaya udvega. He is not disturbed. He cannot be put into anxiety because he is equipoised. He has learned how to understand that everything is depending on Krishna. Everything is acting according to Krishna's plan. So this is again another amazing quality of a pure devotee. Yeah, I just wanted to say one other point that when we discuss a point of that the pure devotee is free from ahankar, another point is that you will see in some other purport also Prabhupada is pointing out, he may identify himself as a servant of the Lord. That is the only identification he will see. If you see the Mayavad, they say that you must, that identity of I also you should remove. Everything, everything should, like, they have this idea of making everything into void or merging everything. But he is very clear that regarding his identity as the eternal servant of Krishna. And he is proud to identify himself as Krishna's devotee. Not that pride of, that he he is the controller. No, he is very happy to identify himself with a parampara of great devotees, coming to serve Krishna. So that is another great aspect of the Krishna consciousness that we see in the pure devotees. And do you remember yesterday we also discussed another point that Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out that some of the qualities may be repeated. And he specifically in this verse that we are speaking, Harsha Marsha Bhayodvega Muktoya Sachame Priya, he says few qualities will be repeated in the 17th verse. Do you remember what are those qualities? This is the one he is saying. Harsha Marsha Bhayodvega. Some things will be repeated. Why? Because he says that it is difficult to control. The anger, it's difficult to control. When somebody is really happy, he is very elated. When he is in difficulty, he feels completely morose. So these are difficult to overcome, he says. And Srila Prabhupada is also going to give some more reasons for that. We will see that. Okay, let's now go to text number 16. Okay. Anapeksha chirdaksha udasino gatavyatah sarvaramba parityagi yomad bhakta same priyah. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. So here some of the qualities are discussed. Anapekshaha is neutral, suchihi, pure, dakshaha, very expert, udasinaha, free from care, and then sarvaramba parityagi. So he says that the Lord is, the Lord points out that he is not striving for some result. He will endeavor in activities, not that he is so much attached for some particular result. He will endeavor with sincerely, sarvaramba parityagi. Such a devotee is very dear to me, he is saying. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out in the purport. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. Let's try to understand what is this. Now, you can see a difference between the conditioned soul and the advanced soul. Whatever the Lord sends, he is satisfied with that, whatever money. And he will not endeavor in such an act wherein he will leave the practice of Krishna consciousness for the sake of acquiring wealth. On the other hand, a devotee may take so much endeavor. For example, devotees, when they want to build a temple for Krishna, or they want to establish some project which is related with Krishna consciousness, you need funds for that. The devotee may work hard, but he will work hard and he will depend on Krishna. And he knows Krishna will provide. If you simply depend on him, if you will work for this pleasure, Krishna will provide. And he is also not miser to keep it with him, not give it. That's why the more we give, Krishna will be pleased, and Krishna arranges, he takes care of whatever that is required to be done. At the same time, he is not lazy. He doesn't, everything Krishna will take. Krishna will build this temple, he will not say. Like we went to one donor asking for some help. He said that, why are you worried? Krishna will take care of everything. He will provide you. It's all, in Tamil this is how they say, Ellam avan means it's all done by him. And we also know that, you take the advantage. Krishna is only doing it, definitely. So he has given us a job. He has given us a task to perform to please him by building a temple for him, by glorifying him, by offering our mind, intelligence, the wealth, our efforts, everything we have to offer to him. Then Krishna will be pleased. This is what Krishna is giving instruction. People are so selfish sometimes. They want to accumulate more and more. But how much they can accumulate? Everything will be taken at the time of leaving this body. We cannot take even one small, a small dust particle we can take with us. So it's so foolish. But a devotee, he works for it, and whatever Krishna provides, he's happy. But he strives. He does really hard work. To see, Srila Prabhupada, when he went, what money he had? He went to West. He hardly had any money. Even that 40 rupees he had, he could not use it. When he came, came with crores of money, and he never, he never claimed himself to be. He is the possessor of it. He was. And there are sometimes, Prabhupada, when he wanted to get things done, there was one situation wherein one property, Prabhupada rejected, saying that okay, it's too much of endeavor for devotees. And another time, he just pushed to get one property because Prabhupada had a vision, which will be beneficial, which will not be beneficial. So he knew. At the same time, devotees worked so hard, but there was a balance. They never forgot Krishna. They never dropped Krishna conscious activities. So this is where we need to have that balance. So a pure devotee, we can see he can balance. He will never miss to serve the Supreme Lord. He will always keep Krishna in the center in his life. That balance. So sometimes not when in the neophyte stage, in the name of Krishna consciousness, we start to work very hard. We want to build some big house, want to buy some big property, and then in endeavoring to do that, what happens? He forgets everything. He forgets to chant Hare Krishna. He forgets to read Prabhupada books. He forgets to associate with devotees. It becomes a very problematic situation. So we should never end up ourselves like that. So we should be very careful in dealings with the money. because money will make us mad. So we have to be very intelligent. We have to learn from great acharyas, great persons. Prabhupada also, you can see, whenever there is huge money, anybody is giving big donation, you will see that will be engaged in printing books, building temples, like that. This Prabhupada was very careful enough to see that everything is, because otherwise we will be devoured by Maya. Now another aspect also we can see, there was one incident I just remember, in Srila Prabhupada, I think it was maybe in Los Angeles, or I remember which place ISKCON had the press. In the US there was one place, I think it is in Los Angeles, I'm not sure. So they were having the press, they were initially printing lots and lots of books, and devotees were performing. So much hard work was done. They used to print, one time I remember also, Rameshwar Swami said that the 1 million copies of Back to Godhead they printed. And then Prabhupada was very pleased. Doing at the same time, he also one time came to know that devotees were not coming for the morning program. They were not coming for Mangalarti. I think Prabhupada was asking Jayadvaita Swami, he was a brahmachari at the time. He asked him, so, is it so? They are not coming? Yes, Prabhupada. Okay, close the press, Prabhupada said. Prabhupada was so specific that you should not become, in the name of heavy endeavor, you should not lose a track of, because everything is meant for what? All these things are meant to always remember Krishna. Purification should remember in result. So there should be a balance of our programs. Same thing, we collect. Then what? For what we are doing all these things? To chant Hare Krishna. Then I'm so busy in collection, but I'm forgetting Krishna. So that should not be there. So we have to be, that's why we always need the association of devotees. That's why we need the association of the advanced souls. Then they always remind us, they put us back on track. The nature of material world is to, it's like a big wave, it makes us forget for what we joined Hare Krishna movement, what is the goal of our life, we forget. But by the association of sober-headed devotees, they always remind us to be on track. At the same time, they push us also. Not that you just simply sit and chant in one corner. That is also a service for the Lord, but we need to, since we are part of the mission of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada Anugas, means we have to be engaged in preaching. That also we should not forget. So everything should be balanced. Okay. Prabhupada goes on to now speak about Shuchi. Naturally, a devotee takes a bath at least twice in a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. So, this is again the important principle being pointed out. The devotee is always clean, you can see. Always so clean. Because somebody may ask, we have to be Krishna conscious. Why you are stressing on other qualities? To be Krishna conscious, although this may appear like a secondary principle, this principle helps us to be Krishna conscious. You see, when we take bath, we feel fresh. When I'm out of the bodily platform. But even the pure devotees, they set example. Srila Prabhupada and all of the great acharyas, they set example. All they're out of the bodily platform. But these are all the principles, sadachara, it's given in the scriptures. So that helps us to raise our consciousness. Sattvam sanjayate jnana. So from there we are established in knowledge. So for internal cleanliness, what do we do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We always chant the names of Krishna. The essence of the entire Krishna consciousness movement is in chanting the holy names of the Lord. Everything, all principles are meant for that. Prabhupada was very expert in that. He knew that chanting is the essential principle of the Hare Krishna movement. So that's why we are called as the Hare Krishna movement. Wherever we are, whatever we are always chant Hare Krishna. That is the essential principle that we need to be engaged in. We can see, in fact, for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we just chant Hare Krishna. That's the whole point. There may be so many other rules and regulations. Everything becomes auspicious by chanting the Hare Krishna. It's not that other things needs to be now neglected, but we should not forget to chant the holy name. For example, even in the deity installation ceremony or temple opening ceremony or any function, the most important principle is to chant the names of the Lord. Then everything becomes complete. That is the whole principle. Okay. So for external cleanliness, we keep our things clean, we keep the temple clean, we keep the kitchen clean, we keep everything very clean for the pleasure of the Lord. and for internal cleanliness, we chant the holy names of the Lord. So the ignorance, we will be free from ignorance by that. And then when we are not in ignorance, we will be conscious, our mind and intelligence will be absorbed in Krishna, and we will think how to do the service so nicely for the pleasure of the Lord. That is the whole point. See, this is again another point here. Daksha, Prabhupada points out, a devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life and is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. See, this is another important point. See, Daksha here can also mean that one is very expert in various skills. That also is there. He'll be very expert. Maybe he's very expert in decorating the deities, very expert in dressing, very expert in cooking, very expert in playing the instruments, very expert in various other skills. That is also there. Now, all these skills should be engaged for what? Yeah, if that is missed, you want maybe very, very clean, or maybe very expert in he is a very good tailor, he's a very good architect, he's very good cook. But the essential principle of not trying to please Krishna, the essential principle is to please Krishna. If you have not understood that, what is the use of all these skills? Mandanam Lokaranjanam. So expert means this is an expertise. Expertise is that one will endeavor to please Krishna. So in that way, a devotee is so expert. That's the Prabhupada also sometimes used to say. He used to claim, we are not professional musicians. So what is the essential point? Devotee wants to please Krishna by his kirtan, by any activity he wants to please Krishna. Now, for that matter, we should not be negligent in trying to learn the details of it. Whatever is possible, we should try. But in the name of learning the details, we should not lose the principle. Sometimes you can see, people. I'm just giving an example is coming to mind. Nowadays, in the early days of the movement, devotees did not know much to play different instruments and all those things. In fact, they did not even have proper mridangas. The Prabhupada says, simply bang. They were just banging, but they were so much absorbed in singing the holy name. They will just sing like madmen. That's what is most required. Now, sometimes now, so many devotees learn how to play mridanga properly, so expert, but they don't want to sing Hare Krishna. There is so much, or it has become too professional that you lose the track of, hey, we are doing this for the pleasure of the Lord. So who is an expert? An expert is one who knows the conclusions of the scriptures. He knows what the scripture says. Ultimately, Krishna has to be pleased. And that true devotee is very expert in that. He knows from the conclusion of the scriptures is very clear about trying to please the Supreme Lord. So his Prabhupada's point knows the essence of all activities of life and is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. See, there are so many people who are very expert in many things, but this principle they don't apply. It becomes useless. Okay. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. Therefore, he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body is a designation, so if there are some bodily pains, he is free. Okay. Now, here we can see the devotee has got the understanding that he is not this body, his spirit, soul, and there may be some difficulties with the body, but he goes on with the service of the Supreme Lord. He does not, at the same time, he is not negligent of the body. Whatever care needs to be taken care, he does. But he is not so much for the sake of body, he doesn't give up the practice of Krishna consciousness. He goes on with the practice. Whatever that is required, whatever that needs to be done, he does that also. Now, the great example we can say Srila Prabhupada. He had so many bodily ailments. Prabhupada was not, first of all, what was his age when he was traveling? Can we imagine in that age to do anything? Now, recently who was there? Just 1 or 2 years back, Hari Shauri Prabhu was there. Now he came in the flight. He traveled, and when he sat, he was explaining to us. And we all know, we will all come to know, he said, when you're above 60, then you know what it is meant by old age. Because when we are young, we cannot so much understand it, appreciate it. When we are old, then we will know how difficult it is to sit, how difficult it is to stand, and who can even travel in the flight. Traveling, it will appear like when you see the photos, videos, nice flight, but it's not so easy, it's very painful. Prabhupada was traveling from, he was just traveling to different countries, time zones differ. Prabhupada just went on with this service. Even the other devotees were traveling with him, they had difficulties. They had knee pain, and Prabhupada said that, I have knee pain, but I don't complain. But you are complaining, why you are not coming for Mangalarati? Once he called his servant, and then he was chastising. So the point is that devotee transcends. At the same time, we should also be, if we are negligent, his Prabhupada also elsewhere is pointing out that we should not imitate the advanced devotees, isn't it? If you imitate, then you will end up in miserable fall down. At the same time, we should balance, we should endeavor, for every small thing, oh Prabhu, I headache. Sometimes it's very difficult when somebody does the service of temple commander. Sometimes they say headache. Headache is a simple solution by which you can avoid service. But maybe it may be a little headache, but sometimes we may have to push for the service. I'm just giving it's a crude, it's a very gross example. Just saying what the point that I'm trying to tell here is that we should, for any small thing, we should not give up our service. We should not so much bother, we should just push ourselves. At the same time, care has to be taken. Maybe you are on a medication, you are on some treatment, whatever that needs to be done, you have to do it. Then if you don't do it, then again you will not be able to be in Krishna's service properly. So things have to be balanced. Okay, Prabhupada goes on to explain. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. This is a very key point. So he will do endeavors, so many different kinds of endeavors he will be engaged in, working very hard. People may also may think, what is going on with this person? Why is he's awake in the night also? See, we remember in the early days when they wanted to do the Ratha Yatra, devotees were doing so much hard work. Day and night they were working. Just 2 days, 3 days before Ratha Yatra, they were working so hard. And people, some outsiders also, when they saw devotees so much working hard, some of them they got inspired. Can I do something? They were coming and asking. When Jayananda Prabhu was there, he will just call someone. You want to come and do some service for Krishna. But through that endeavor, he will do for Supreme Lord. He knows to whom it has to be done. And also from the nectar of instruction, we heard here, that atyahara prayasascha prajalponiyam, that prayasa should also be balanced. In the name of, for too much endeavor, one can do so much hard work for Krishna, but not for one's personal sense gratification. That a devotee will not do. Now Prabhupada is giving a nice example. He's saying, for example, constructing a big building requires great energy, and a devotee does not take to such business if it does not benefit him by advancing his devotional service. So this is the thing, why are we building such a big temple? The goal of building this big temple is to chant Hare Krishna and make the people chant Hare Krishna. That's why there is no need to build such a big temple. But when there is a big temple, then people they say, oh, something big is going on here. So let us see what is happening. So they come and then they hear, okay, now we chant Hare Krishna. No, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are His eternal servants. We are meant to please Him. You are in Maya. I was in Maya. I was saved by hearing from the transcendental message of the Bhagavad Gita. You can also be freed by hearing. You are in an illusory state. Come back to the realistic state of engaging in Krishna service. Like this we can preach. And when there is something big, people come and see. That is why, that's one of the ideas of why Srila Prabhupada wanted to have big temples. Specifically in India, gorgeous temples. He said for Chennai, there should be a gorgeous temple for Krishna. The idea is that when there is something big, people come and then they see. He was pointing to a reporter, Prabhupada pointing to a reporter. Why you want to have such a big temple? Prabhupada said, that's why you're coming and then speaking to me. Otherwise you're not going to come, you're going to just, you're not some poor man you will think. So that is the whole point. That is an interesting quote regarding this. I would like to just read that. Before I just read the quote, I just want to show one other reference. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is pointing out these verses. Prabhupada gives another amazing point about anapeksha. in this verse we see the anapeksha. Anapeksha means is neutral. He says the word anapeksha means that one should not be concerned with mundane people. One should not depend upon them. One should depend solely on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be free from material desires. One should also be clean. Okay, anyway, I'll read it also. One should also be clean within and without. To be outwardly clean, one should regularly bathe with soap and oil. And to be inwardly clean, one should always be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. The word sarvarambha parityagi indicate that one should not be interested in the so-called smartha vidhi of pious and impious activities. Now, another aspect, we don't get ourselves too much lost into too many rules and regulations. Smartas, they point out so many rules and regulations. We don't get carried away by that. We always remember the essence is in chanting the holy names of the Lord. We remember that. That's one point. Now here we can see anapeksha. Prabhupada is pointing out that yes, a devotee is neutral. He is neutral in the sense that he is completely dependent on Krishna. So we can see we don't identify ourselves as Hindus. We don't identify ourselves with any social organizations because our main identity is we are servants of Krishna. Sometimes people don't understand. They put us in the Hindu card because we are studying Bhagavad Gita. They think that Bhagavad Gita is for Hindus, but a devotee is doesn't bother. He gives his knowledge to people from any faith. He may be a Christian, he may be a Muslim, he may be a Jew, he may be a Buddhist, anybody. Actually, the first identity is everybody is a servant of the Supreme Lord. That is the identification. So, yet we are not so much concerned about Hindutva or this particular caste or that. Anybody, everyone, we welcome everyone. We engage everybody in service, and we don't take any sides. We will now be part of this political party. That no, we will respect everybody as long as they are doing things in a dharmic way. No problem. Devotees. So anapeksha, Prabhupada here gives another view here. Now, in one lecture, Prabhupada speaks about this very much as in the purport here. He's pointing about the temple construction, how a devotee, he works for. So Prabhupada, this is from a Prabhupada lecture. I will collect something. What you will collect? It is Krishna's money. Everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. So what you can collect? It is Krishna's. Just like we are constructing this temple, we are feeling that I am constructing, we are constructing, but actually it is Krishna's. The bricks, the iron, or the cement, or anything that you are collecting, that is Krishna's property. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. The brick is not your property. The earth is not your property. You are taking Krishna's earth and you are making it a brick. Still it is Krishna's property, but the endeavor, the energy which you are giving to Krishna, that is taken into account. Oh, he is working for me. He wants to give me something. That Krishna consciousness is important. Otherwise, Krishna can, by his will, he can construct 16,000 palaces for his queen. What this teeny temple will satisfy him, but still he is satisfied. Oh, you have done so much, very good, recognized. So Krishna has created the whole universe. Yasyai kanishvasya kala. He doesn't require any endeavor. Simply by breathing, yasyai kanishvasya kala matavalamya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandhanataha. By his breathing, many millions of Brahmas are coming out. Jagadandhanataha. And each Jagadandhanataha, Brahma is creating a universe. Yasyai kanishvasya kala matavalamya. So to create a temple, it doesn't require our help. He can create millions of temples by his will. So there are already. So this is the point, The point is that a devotee, he does it depending fully on Krishna. He knows that this is for Krishna. And he may be collecting funds, everything. He knows actually this is all Krishna's mercy. He doesn't take credit for himself. He always gives the credit to the Supreme Lord. And it's not an artificially he's doing it, but it's a fact also. We have our energy, we have our mind, we have our intelligence. But who has given all these things? From where it is coming? Krishna is providing everything. If you think that it is, I am very, without me, this project will not happen. If you have that kind of an idea, that means that there is a problem. Because everything, all the abilities, everything is coming from Krishna. And a devotee always remembers this. Always he gives the credit to Supreme Lord. That's what Prabhupada is pointing out here. So we should always remember this, that Krishna does not require our service, but if we give some service to Krishna, that is our benefit. This is the formula. Don't think that Krishna is very much obliged, but he feels obliged. Why? Avidushaha. We are all fools and rascals. We are thinking that we are giving some service. No, we cannot give any. We are so insignificant that we cannot. He is unlimited and we are very, very limited, teeny. But still, just the small child gives something to the father. It is father's property, but still the father is very glad that this child is giving me a lozenges. He thinks this is my big property. So always we should remember this verse that Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabha Purnaha. He is always full with 6 opulences. There is no question of satisfying by giving something. This Daridra Narayana Seva has come under this misunderstanding that we have to serve God, and so when God comes as Daridra, we shall give. When God comes with Lakshmi, with Sita, with Radharani, no, that is not required. We don't want to serve that God. We want to serve when God comes as poor man, as invalid with a stick and begs. Oh, I'm so great, I'm giving God. This is nonsense. This is not. What God cares for you. But they have conceived that God, although he is great, he becomes a small beggar and begs from me. This is the material conception of understanding. So this is the point. This is how they put Krishna, that he is dependent. So it is dependent on me. They are thinking, he becomes Daridra Narayana. No, we are dependent on Krishna. It is our fortune that Krishna has given us an opportunity to engage us in his service. And by engaging in service, we are purified. And of course, Prabhupada also pointing out that Krishna is pleased by that endeavor. Krishna says, oh, so much hard work is doing for me. So Krishna wants to take him back to his abode. Teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagara bhavamina chirat partha. Very quickly he wants to take such a devotee back to his abode. So I'll again read this sentence before there's a completion of his purport. He may construct a temple for the Lord. For that he may take all kinds of anxiety. But he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. That's the point. Okay. All the points Prabhupada covered, so we'll go to the next verse. Yo narishyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktimanyas same priyaha. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me. So we see some of the qualities here are repeated, that harsha, marsha, those things are again rishyati, not dveshti, repeated here. So we will just see the purport. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. So here, a pure devotee, he is not thinking that now I will have, now I will show to the whole world how big personality I am. See the number of my disciples. He's not bothered about how many disciples he's acquiring. As Srila Bhakti-śāstra Thakur said, one moon is enough. What do you do with these rascals of so many thousands of stars which are rascals? That means what? He's not interested in numbers. He's interested in those who will take up to this pure path of Krishna consciousness and follow as Krishna has instructed. So the devotee is well aware of that. At the same time, Prabhupada also said that, so when quantity, quality, both are required. So when we sincerely serve Krishna and give the pure message, definitely the potency of the pure message is that it will attract the conditioned souls. And when they come in association with this pure message, they will be purified and they will take up this message. So you can see Srila Prabhupada when he went to the West from 66 to 77, 65 to 77. Almost 13 times he went around the globe. And naturally attracted wherever he went. His purity attracted everyone. It's not that he was in some competition or something. It was natural because of his purity, everybody was attracted. So that's the point. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he does not get what he desires, he is not distressed. We can see in the Bhagavatam the character of Chitraketu's life. Before he was, he got the association of Narada Muni. He was completely, he was not very happy, and after coming in the association of Narada Muni, he got an opportunity to get a children, and then he felt himself very happy. He said that, do you remember what was the name that was given to the child? The name of the child is called Harsha Marsha. Harsha Shoka, sorry, Harsha Shoka. Yes, this child will be the cause of distress. So we can see after that he was so much lamenting. But then again, by the transcendental knowledge that he got from two great saints. One was Narada Muni, the other one was what? Angina Rishi. So by their association, he was completely satisfied. He came to know that Krishna consciousness is the reality. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. The nature of the material world is that there will be happiness and distress. That's how the material world is designed. So he became purified. So this is the thing, when a devotee, because he's fixed in transcendental knowledge, he's not carried away by the sways of the ocean of this material, waves of the material world, material energy. He's undisturbed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. You see, this is again an amazing quality. He is ready to take risks for Krishna. So this is the thing. Srila Prabhupada, he sent his disciples to so many different places. Srila Prabhupada, first of all, he himself took a great risk traveling, surviving the heart attack in the ship. So many of them gave him advice. Don't travel in this old age. The place is very cold. What will you get there for eating? Once he was, who was that? Who was Gaur Sundar's wife? No. Thank you. Govinda Dasi, yeah. She was once cooking for Prabhupada. And then, she was making varieties of preparation with potatoes and so many other vegetables. So Prabhupada was honoring it, and then he said, see, who said you will not get anything? Krishna is providing everything. Prabhupada got so many varieties to honor prasadam. So, so he took great risks, and he sent his disciples also to so many different places. You remember when, who was that? Brothers, Gargamuni Prabhu and Brahmananda Prabhu, they went to tough places for preaching. Prabhupada sent Brahmananda to South Africa. Prabhupada sent them to Pakistan. Prabhupada was in tears, when he heard that there was a kind of a bomb explosion, there was shooting that happened, and then some people died. So he was wondering what happened. He was very much eager to know what happened. So much risk he took. He sent devotees to various places. Some of the devotees were struggling. The whole movement, how it expanded in Russia. It was not so easy to be. Prabhupada got only 1 week time to stay in Russia, and within 1 week he planted the seed. So much, wherever he went, it was great. When conducting the Ratha Yatra parade, and there was always some envious people. But Prabhupada he was so confident in the protection given by the Lord. He was fully aware that the Lord is there to protect. And that's again an exceptional quality of a pure devotee. And also following in his footsteps, the devotees also whomsoever took great risks, they could see Krishna's presence. Devotees we had in the early days had great difficulty. It is not that somebody sponsored funds, someone gave big money or like that. They didn't, even in the early days, they were not able to, they do not know how they will pay the rent for next month. They did not have such an opulent prasadam or like that. It was all so much hard work. They were all depending on Krishna. They experienced that Krishna reciprocates if you work for him, if you struggle for him, if you take risks for him. Krishna reciprocates to his devotees. They all had this experience. And following that same mood, we can also imbibe that. See, now it becomes, even for our devotees when they go out for collection or Whatever endeavors that we take, immediately we have the label, ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada has already given all the setup. Now when we go, then people recognize, oh, Hare Krishna Swami, you are coming with ISKCON. This all credit goes to whom? To Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada did it. We are living in the all the hard work done by Prabhupada. We can just imagine, don't identify, we should not identify ourselves with ISKCON. Just let us go out somewhere separate. Nobody will give a fig for us. Who are you? Nobody will consider us. But it's a fact. On Prabhupada's mercy we are running. We should always be indebted to Prabhupada. Chakudan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu say. We should always be indebted to him. So we can, because he could exhibit all these great qualities. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Samashtratrau cha mitre cha tata manapamanayoho शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समसंग विवर्जितः तुल्य निंदा स्तुतिर्मौनी संतुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिर् भक्तिमान मे प्रियो नरः. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Let's even try to see the word to word. Samaha shatraucha mitrecha is equal to dealing with enemies and friends. Mana apamana, he is beyond this. Mana and apamana, honor and dishonor. Whether you honor him or dishonor him, he is always engaged in Krishna's service. Sitoshna, whatever may be the conditions, cold climatic conditions, or it's a heavy heat, scorching summer, he goes on with his service. Sukha dukkeshu, sama, equipoised, again this quality is repeated, is equipoised in happiness and distress. Sangha vivarjita, is free from a bad association. Or even he may be in the association of some people, but he will never give his heart. Those who are very expert. The advanced devotees, what they do, they give association. They are not influenced by the association of people in lower levels. Tulya ninda sthir mauni. So so it is explained that somebody may defame, somebody may glorify. He is not disturbed. Mauni is silent. Silent means what? He is following Mauna Vrata. We will see what it is. What kind of Mauna Vrata he follows. Santushtaha, satisfied. Aniketaha, having no residence, it is said. Is satisfied in any situation, any place you send him, wherever you send him, he doesn't complain. Sthiramatihi, mind is always fixed. Such a devotee is very dear to me, Krishna says. So let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. So it is like this, Sometimes some people will glorify what you have done, and then immediately they will immediately point out that even if it's a small mistake, that they will blow up and make it big issue. In either case, a devotee is fixed. In fact, he is ready to learn from anywhere and everyone. He is ready to learn, and he is always thinking how we can do service the best way to Krishna. Fame and infamy, but a devotee is always transcendent to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. So a devotee is he does not do anything for the vox populi. He is not concerned about how public will glorify me. We do something like this, then I can impress the people. No, his main concern is what is Krishna's, how this service or how this act will please Krishna. What is the best thing to be done for the pleasure of the Lord? This he always sees in his approach in anything, but also in his dealings also with others. Maybe some things will be very for us. It may be very comfortable. Maybe we will put someone in a very difficult situation, his Krishna consciousness may be hampered. From a selfish point of view, from my point of view, it is very nice. But seeing from the other person's perspective, his Krishna consciousness will be completely hampered. A pure devotee is very concerned. He will know how to deal with these situations. So he will always see what will really be beneficial to others. Now Prabhupada deals about silence here. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. This we discussed elaborately when we were studying the Nectar of Instruction. There are so many people, they claim themselves to be spiritualists. They only exhibit silence. So better for some of these so-called spiritualists to be silent, because when they start speaking, it's all complete garbage and nonsense. Useless talk. They just blabber. Yesterday I was discussing with Snowpriya that one so-called bogus fellow who is considered to be some big spiritualist. He's saying that you should not believe in God. That is also not proper. Not believing in God, that is also not proper. It's like that, just he speaks something, but just now we saw one of the quality of a pure devotee. Whatever he speaks, that is in line with Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Not that you concoct something from your mind. Because this Mayavadis have all these crazy ideas of, actually everything is illusion. The words are illusion. It's all just words. So everything they boil down to nothing. They say that there is no meaning for anything that is being spoken. There is no meaning for anything. Is that what you are speaking has got any meaning? They just cook something that comes from the mind, and then they just blabber something. So better they remain silent. But a devotee, he is not silent. He is always 24 hours ready to talk about Krishna. He's 24 hours ready to glorify Krishna. That's what Srila Prabhupada was doing. Everywhere, wherever he went, he made people chant Hare Krishna. He spoke the pure philosophy of Krishna consciousness. As Krishna, every time he repeats, Krishna says. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. This is what Bhagavatam says. This is what Acharya says. He never gave his own ideas. According to me, what I think is according to my idea. No, always repeated the profound philosophy of Krishna consciousness. One should speak only of essentials, or the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. This is another thing, in the world, so many people are speaking about so many things. They speak about sports, they speak about bar, they speak about some hobbies. There are Nrinam Santi Sahasrashah. Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out. Srotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashah Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grihamedinam. He says that there are thousands and thousands of topics to discuss, but all those topics are useless. Why? Apashyatam Atmatattvam. It's all nothing to do with Atma Tattva. Nothing to do with the process of self-realization. Nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. Because the more the energy you spend on topics which are not related with Krishna, what is happening? Your lifespan is just getting reduced. That's all. As much energy we spend, our breathing. One time we inhale, one time we exhale. Our lifespan is reducing. So we have to use our energy in Krishna's service. That is the mission of Krishna consciousness. We are helping people to use their energy in Krishna's service. Don't waste your valuable life. Use it in Krishna's service. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable footsteps, sometimes not, but he is satisfied. No complaint whatsoever. Whatever is there, the devotee is happy. Whatever he may be put in any situation, he doesn't complain, he is just ready to honor. Now, he says, Aniketaha does not care for residential facility, nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. Srila Prabhupada, during his travels, sometimes, there's one incident I remember, when he came to Bhubaneswar, devotees are trying to arrange a nice hotel, because actually the land where the devotees were staying, it is a forest. That's where Gaur Govind Maharaj, he put a small hut. They're just building the construction. Prabhupada sent him there. There are other Western devotees also. Prabhupada said that, why are you putting me somewhere? I'm just happy. There was just mud thatched wall and a small hut. Prabhupada just stayed with him, and then he was just happily relishing. There's no problem. So he has no, so devotees are, pure devotees are like that. They can adjust themselves in any situation. Well, we have a great example. Immediately, when Prabhupada says this, you see, you should all remember one example immediately. He may sometimes live underneath a tree. Whose example you remember? Can you just hear this? Goswamis, yes. So the 6 Goswamis, one night they will sleep under one tree, another night they will sleep under another tree. So they are so elevated personalities. So here, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that he is being fixed. Points out that he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. Never ever he deviates from the principles of Krishna consciousness. That's how he is fixed. Now Prabhupada here is giving a reason. You see here, he is pointing out, we may find some repetition in the description of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Hara abhaktasya kuto mahad gunaha. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. So here Prabhupada is saying that, so these qualities are mentioned by Krishna because one should develop these qualities. And all these qualities will develop by surrendering to the Supreme Lord. One does not have to endeavor something separate. So Prabhupada points out that also. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. So that's the point. All we need to do is engage in the association of devotees, follow their instructions, follow the pure principles of Krishna consciousness simply by chanting and engagement in the process of the Navamida Bhakti. All the good qualities will develop. Prabhupada once was traveling in a flight. There was one father. He said that, how is that? Your disciples, the members in your movement, they're looking very bright. He recognized that. They were very, very bright, and many youngsters are coming and joining the movement. This is the point. Because they were experiencing the bliss of Krishna consciousness. The moment you chant the names of Krishna, the moment you engage in this service, one gets purified. That's the reason. Okay, I just have one nice conversation I would like to share, which Srila Prabhupada speaks about all those qualities what we have discussed. Some qualities is speaking in one of the conversations with Dr. Patel. Okay, we'll just go through that. Dr. Patel, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha will be like Jada Bharata. Prabhupada, no. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha means who is a devotee of Krishna. He is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Dr. Patel, because Krishna is representative. Prabhupada, he is the root. Aham Adirhi Devana. The root, if you water the root, then Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. The water will go to the branches, to the twigs, to the leaves, to the flowers. He is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. They do not know the way how to become Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. So then Prabhupada goes on to explain about how devotees, by chanting the names of Krishna, is giving the mercy to everyone. He speaks about that. Now Prabhupada, he speaks about, because all these good qualities one is exhibiting because he is surrendered to Krishna, worshipping the personal form of the Lord, like that Prabhupada is speaking. Now Prabhupada goes on to explain. Kleshodikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Prabhupada, avyakta, this avyakta, they do not find where is the point, where sarvabhuta hite rata. Just like one who knows the electric button, he push. He does not know that. So he says that actually Krishna is the main principle. Here one has to surrender to Krishna. One has to engage in this service. Then one can overcome all the difficulties, and he will really give this knowledge to others. Prabhupada is pointing out like that. So Prabhupada says, Mat karma vihi karmani siddhim sarva karma tyaga. Where is Giriraja? Prabhupada is asking. These boys collecting not less than 30,000 per month, but not a single farthing for him. This is sarva karma phala. Is there any man, any businessman? Yes, he stays in utter poverty. Sarva karma palatyagameva. He does not care for his body even. Sir, yes, he does not care. I forced him to go to USA and get Dr. Patel, he's speaking about Giriraj. I invited him to stay in my house, but he said that he won't come. Prabhupada, no, he's not interested for his person. It's a person, you see, for personal things they are not interested. They are working so hard for Krishna. Dr. Patel, we have invited him. When he is ill, he may stay with me. We may have a little satsanga. But he is sarvabhute hite rataha. Why he should be concentrated one? So his devotee is always concerned how he can give the mercy to others. He does hard work. So he doesn't want to just, because of some small difficulties, he doesn't want to stay some place. He wants to go out everywhere and save the lives of the people. Adveshta sarvabhutanam, Prabhupada. Adveshta. It is not that I am Hindu. Why shall I preach amongst the Christian? The Dveshta is not there. Dr. Patel. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. But one has to become Adveshta. This is Dveshta. Maitra karuna evacha. Nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha kshami. Prabhupada. Now some of these Mayavadi sannyasis accuse me that Bhaktivedanta Swami is spoiling our Hindu religion. Dveshta. They do not like Christians, do not like Mohammedans. But I am accepting Mohammedans Christian, any damn rascal. Come on, chant Hare Krishna. This is Prabhupada, Anybody from any background, no problem. This is a specialty of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You come, take shelter and be purified. So Prabhupada, Mr. Sar, and be a Brahmana. And Prabhupada, this is Adveshta, envious of Christian. Dr. Patel, Nirmamo Nirahankara Samadukha Sukha. Prabhupada, why you should be Santushtah Satanam Yogi Drida Nishchaya Mayarpita Mano Buddhir. So Prabhupada, yes, laughs. Prabhupada, we cannot change. Therefore, yesterday I said, why shall I go to Dr. Patel and Mr. Sar? Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijate chayah. Arsham arsha bhayodvega. Prabhupada, yes, you are firing us. He's saying, Prabhupada is chastising. Prabhupada, for your good, even if I fire you, for your good. Dr. Patel laughing. I was ready to come to this point. That is why I asked them to arrange for this meeting. So Prabhupada, sometimes was not interested in some, the interfaith and some things. So unless there is an important point being discussed, that is the point. Okay. Dr. Patel, Anapeksha Shuchir Daksha, Prabhupada, Anapeksha, just see, when I went to Europe, America, I went with 40 rupees. The Sumati Maharaji gave me a ticket and I had only 40 rupees. That 40 rupees could not be spent there. Then, when I was getting down, I asked the Captain Pandya, that I have not a single dollar with me. So you purchase one set of my books. So what is your price? $16. He paid me $20. With that $20 I dropped. So Prabhupada had in the trunk box a set of books. So that book he gave and then he got some money for that. So this is the Anapeksha Shuchir Daksha. Now I think we have got money, $2 million. So that is not a problem. That is not a problem because I know that Krishna is there. See, always the devotee is dependent on Krishna. Anapeksha Shuchir Daksha Udasino Gatapvitaha Sarvaramba Parityagi Yomad Bhakta Same Priya. In the beginning, na kankshati na shochati. Prabhupada, yes, Shubha. When I was in Boston, I was thinking that I have come here. How they will receive me? As soon as I will say that no meat eating, no illicit sex, and no gambling, and no intoxication, immediately they will say, please go home, don't preach here. All right. So for 1 year, there was no success, you see. And I was going to the shipping company. When your next ship is coming to return back. So the manager was telling, Swamiji, you are always inquiring, but you never go. So Prabhupada, he was, sometimes it was very difficult. So Prabhupada was, okay, let us try to know when the next ship is. But Prabhupada, he didn't give up. He was so determined. Okay, let's try for 2 more months. And then gradually everything unfolded. Tulyaninda stutir mauni, santushto yenakena chit, aniketa sthiramatir, bhaktiman me priyo naraha. The Prabhupada is pointing out. Aniketaha, automatically Aniketaha. There was no place to live, no money. Dr. Patel, this is the culmination of a sannyasi. Mr. Sar, one has no place, he lives everywhere. Sannyasa Prabhupada. Sannyasa means Aniketaha. Now we have got 100 temples. But Krishna does not allow me to stay 8 days, more than 8 days. Dr. Patel, but how long you are going to stay there? Stay here. You have promised me to stay long. But if Krishna allows, Prabhupada says, I will always pray to Krishna. Dr. Patel, Prabhupada, I am dependent on Krishna if he allows. Hare Krishna. Because we can't come to America to keep your company. Prabhupada, now here is the Pacific Ocean. Sometimes I think, when I was simply depending on Krishna, those days, now I have to depend on so many disciples. Dr. Patel, through Krishna, the disciples are the sannyasis. Prabhupada laughing. They are good disciples. They are bringing everything. I am ordering. Still, I think that was better to depend on Krishna. Of course, Prabhupada is depending on Krishna. He's engaging, he's allowing his disciples to engage in his service. Okay. So now we will go to the last verse of this chapter. Text 20. Yetu dharma mritamidam yatoktam paryupasate shraddadhana matparama bhaktaste tivame priyaha. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Now Krishna says, Yetu dharma amritam idam. So he says that dharma amritam. Amritam is the nectar. Dharma, this path of Krishna consciousness, this path of religion, imperishable path of devotional service. Why he says Amritam? It is not perishable. This path, if you take to this pure path, it is imperishable. Yatoktam paryupasate. It is said that that is the one complete engagement in this process, taking up this process of pure devotional service. Then what happens? Shraddadhana mat parama. With great faith, this is required, no? With great faith and mat parama, making me the supreme goal. Such a person, he says, Tiva me priya. Ativa. Ativa means it becomes very, very dear to the Supreme Lord. Now, let's say what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. In this chapter, from verse 2 through the end, from Maya Veshya Mano Yemam through Yetu Dharmamritamidam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. Correct, right? What Prabhupada is summarizing. First of all, Krishna explained that this personal worship, personally worshipping me with faith and engaging in my service is the best form of worship. And such a person, he lives in me, he says, then he gives the process, how to attain that. And what are those different processes? He says that one is complete absorption, another one is how to come to that complete absorption by engaging in the process of sadhana bhakti under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. This is very important, isn't it? Prabhupada will repeat that in the purport. So like that, one can approach and one can become, and also he says, what is the net result? One can become very dear to him. So this is also was dealt and discussed. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman or one who is engaged in the personal service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. So that point is established. In other words, in this chapter, decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service. So this is also pointed out that how to come to that advanced level, one requires proper association. That proper association is the point of taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of God under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So many places this is being stressed. Now, why that is required? Because by that, taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, then naturally what happens is that one gets the transcendental knowledge. Tattvadarshis, what they give? They give the transcendental knowledge. By transcendental knowledge, our life completely changes. So, till the time, what we are doing, we were giving importance to so many other dharmas. There are several dharmas. In fact, if you see the Bhagavad Gita, at the beginning, Arjuna was confused. Why? Because in the scriptures itself, there are different dharmas that is being mentioned. There are various Dharma-śāstras which are pointing so many different dharmas. So, but one has to be very expert to know what is a paro dharma. In many places, Gauna dharma, Mukhya dharma. There are secondary dharmas, there are the most primary dharma. So, what is that paro dharma? That paro dharma is the unalloyed devotional service for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the paro dharma. And that dharma should be, Bhagavatam also defines that one should engage in that service without any personal motivation and one should render service to the Lord uninterruptedly. This is the definition that is given. Now, who is speaking this? Why Krishna is saying that worship my personal form engage in my devotional service. So a devotee is concerned with the opinion of whose opinion a devotee is concerned with, not the opinion of the so-called leaders or in any field, but is concerned with the opinion of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself again and again declares the Vedas are the our evidence. The Vedas are actually what? Direct emanations from the Lord. And by the study of the Vedas, one comes to a clear and proper conclusion, which we will hear in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explains, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyaha. I am to be known by the study of the Vedas. Vedanta krit veda vid. So, this is the conclusions of the Vedanta. What is the conclusions of Vedas? Is to understand me. Vedavid eva chaham. I have to be understood, Krishna says. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead is giving us the instruction as to what? Surrender to me, take up to this process of pure devotional service. Then by that you will become very dear to me. You absorb your mind. Maya arpita mano buddhir. You absorb your mind, your intelligence in me. Then you will become a very dear object to me. So that is our goal of life. We want to become dear to Krishna. We want to become dear to the pure devotees. So then how do we attain this situation? This situation we attain by the mercy of his pure devotee. We take the shelter of his pure devotee. That is the spiritual master. Krishna himself is giving this suggestion. So he says that, what he says in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshanaha. So if you take by rendering submissive service, asking humble questions, what happens? One becomes transcendentally, he is equipped with the knowledge. He gets the knowledge from the Tattvadarshis, and as a result of that knowledge, what is the result of the transcendental knowledge? Then Krishna says, Yajñatva na punarmoham. 435 he explains. He is not again, by that knowledge, he does not again fall down into illusion. Yajñatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandavam. So, Arjuna, you will be not again put into this delusion. Because you will be able to, because of the transcendental knowledge, you will be able to see everyone as my part and parcel. Or you will be seeing everyone belonging to me. This is a vision one gets by surrendering to the lotus feet of a spiritual master. So what he does, so that is why also you can see Prabhupada pointed out that, why a devotee is not envious on anyone. Even if somebody is giving trouble to him, is putting him in difficulty, is causing, still he is always thinking of the welfare of that person, because he knows that essentially everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Because of ignorance and illusion, he is in this material world. He is still always thinking the welfare of others. So that is the point here being given by the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada, he speaks about the impersonal path. Impersonal path is a difficult path, and he says that in any situation, finally somehow or other one has to come in the association of a pure devotee, and by the association of a pure devotee, one will be able to get entrance into this path of pure devotional service. Then Srila Prabhupada points out, final lines I am going to read. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. What is he talking here? What Prabhupada is speaking right here? Yeah, he does not have to go through this indirect process. Just take up the direct process of Krishna consciousness. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. So this is the point. Simply engage in bhakti, Krishna takes care of everything, and rest assured you will be able to be safely be placed on the path of Krishna consciousness, and the Lord's desire to take, he will quickly take us back to his abode. That is the message. So it's the glory of devotion that is emphasized in this chapter, and here Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out, summarizing the qualities fixed in various types of his devotees, which he has just mentioned, the Lord now describes the result of hearing and deliberating on these qualities by devotees, desirous of obtaining all those qualities. Since these qualities arise from sense control, Shanti mentioned, which in turn arises from bhakti, they are thus not material qualities. Bhaktya tushyati krishnona gunaihi. Krishna is pleased by bhakti, not by good material qualities. Such statements are innumerable in the scriptures. Tu here, yetu dharmamritam. Tu here indicates differentiation. The various devotees previously mentioned were fixed in their individual natures with certain qualities. But those practitioners who desire all of the qualities of all the types of devotees are superior to those just mentioned, who have attained only some of the qualities. Therefore, the word ativa is used. Such devotees who take up all the qualities are even dearer to me. So that means what? When a person becomes ananya bhakta or a pure devotee of the Lord, all these qualities what Krishna spoke, it will be manifested in him. Are you getting the point? So there may be a devotee may not be pure to that degree. To the degree he is pure, all these qualities will be exhibited. Here also another point Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is referring. Though it has been shown that jnana is bitter like neem fruit and bhakti is sweet like grape juice, still these two processes are taken up by their respective followers who crave their particular taste. Very nice example. Huh? So also in Chaitanya Charitamrita that is word, that what goes to that neem he says, if I'm not wrong, there is an example given about crows and cuckoos. Cuckoos always they just sing so nicely compared to devotees. Others compared to these crows. Thus end the commentaries in the 12th chapter of the Gita. Now what Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu says? Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu says that Krishna is controlled by the persons devoted to him alone and by the persons devoted solely to the process of bhakti dedicated to him. The most beautiful Krishna is conquered completely by love. This has been explained in the 12th chapter. Okay. You have any questions or comments or realizations? Anything? From whatever? Yes. So I will just wait if somebody has got anything related to this chapter or this topic, then I will come to your question. I'll just wait for anybody has got anything else. If nobody has got any question, I'll come to this. Yes, ma'am. Okay. The question is, here Krishna is speaking about etu dharmamritamidam. So what dharma is being spoken of here? And also in the Bhagavad Gita later we hear about sarva dharman. So how do we understand it? How do we apply this principle? Okay. So the dharma, what Krishna is speaking about here is when he says etu dharmamritamidam. Prabhupada, you can see he speaks about, when he translates dharma here, he points out the religion. He speaks here word to word of religion, he says. Sorry. So the point here is that the path of devotional service, that's what is being referred to here. When we say dharma, it refers to the paro dharma or the intrinsic nature of the soul. There's swadharma. Swadharma, every soul has got different natures. According to his conditioning, he has to engage in different activities. But the real constitutional nature of the soul is to always remain as servant of Krishna. Always remains as eternal as servant of Krishna. And that is, religion means what? We spoke. That which again connects us back to Krishna, to the Supreme Lord. Religar. That ligos, that from the word it is brought back. So the point is that we are now disconnected. Now by putting us back to the path of dharma, we engage in the service of the Lord. Otherwise what happens? We engage in so many other services, then we get lost. But by engaging in the service of the Lord, we are again entering into the world of nectar, this nectarian process. That's why he says, etu dharmamritam. This path is very pleasing. It's like nectar, because otherwise we just only struggle in this material world. We struggle in the material world trying to satisfy our senses, trying to satisfy the extension of this body, trying to satisfy so many things. So that's the point. Does it answer your question? There are various other dharmas as well, but those dharmas are secondary dharmas. Now, those dharmas are ultimately one should understand that by you may be a householder, you may be a brahmachari, you may be whatever maybe you may be in line with the scriptures, you may be engaged very piously in various activities. But by your activity, if you are not somehow or other connecting with Krishna, somehow or other, if those activities are not leading to Krishna consciousness, then that there is no use of that activity. Shrama eva hi kevalam. It becomes just a heavy endeavor. So what is the point? So to put it in simple terms, okay, one is an householder. Okay, what are you doing with your life? Okay, I am working, I am earning. Am I devoting my life in Krishna's service? Am I taking steps to serve Krishna? That we have to see. Otherwise, simply working, simply earning money, simply doing some job, what is the use? Simply ahara nidra bhayamaitanam. There is no point. But if a person, he understands what Sri Bhakti Thakur says, in a very nice song, he points out that Jo kichu more arpidu tuva pade nanda kishore. Manasa deho geho, jo kichu more. He says that my body, my mind, my words, my family, my children, my dear Lord, everybody I will engage in my service. So this is the Krishna consciousness. So whatever is there, we use it in Krishna's service. So then we take up the path of pure devotional service. So that's what it is. So we are all in different situations. One may be a householder, one may be a brahmachari, one may be sannyasi, one may be whatever may be the situation, we have to somehow or other start to engage in Krishna service, and as we engage in Krishna service, we will be purified and we will observe ourselves more in devotional service. So that is what Krishna is pointing out here. So then gradually we can come to the stage of 24 hours absorption in Krishna. That's the point. Okay, thank you very much. We will stop here. We will again meet on Monday. We'll continue with the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Sunday we will have exam at 3:30 p.m. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna.